Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this podcast today. I know you could be doing a lot of things with your time, so I don't take it for granted. Now, a few years ago, I met this young lady. She was so excited to meet with me, and I had no idea she was aiming for great heights. Today, she's a big media personality, a media mogul. She has her own reality TV show on DSTV. She's an entrepreneur. She's a mother. She's someone's child. And of course, she has over 1 million followers online. Well, everyone knows her as M Nation. Please, let's welcome to the conversation, Mutale Mwanza. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It is good to see you. You look absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on your second season of the reality show.
Yay, thank you.
Okay. Now, I met you years back. You were a young lady. You were just graduating. Tell me, fast forward, are you the same person?
I don't think so. When I was graduating and you gave a speech at my graduation, this is in 2009, when I was graduating, I was getting my diploma in journalism. Mm-hmm. I was actually married. And I had a baby. I was a very young girl, but I was married at the time.
That's a new thing.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I was probably 22 years old, I think. Yes.
And you married very early?
Very young, at 20, age 20.
Okay. And you always wanted to study journalism?
No, I actually wanted to study law, but we couldn't afford it at the time. My dad had passed away, and mom was trying to hold the fort for myself and my other 3 siblings. So we were not able to afford it. I only got an interest into journalism when I joined radio.
Let's go back a little bit. Where were you born?
I was born in Kitwe.
Like me?
Yes, I was born in Kitwe. And I was raised there. My dad used to work for ZCCM. My mom was working for PTC at the time.
Which is now Zamtel.
Zamtel, yes. And I went to Nkana Trust School. I did my grade 1 to 6. My mom thought I was really smart, so she requested that I write my grade 7 exam in grade 6. Because at the time it was an option, it was possible. So I skipped grade 7. I don't know what that's like. So I went straight to grade 8. I did 1 term at St. John's Convent, but I became a bit complacent. I started failing tests. And mom thought it wise to take me to Ibenga Girls, Kuibenga, Masaiti in Wansha.
So and that's where you completed?
Yes.
Do you have siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have 1 sister now, and I have 2 brothers. And I have a sister who's late. She left a child, Chileshe, who I have raised with my mom to this day.
Now, you did mention you are married quite early. You still married?
No.
Secretly, maybe?
No. I wish. I was married at the age 20 to Mwape's dad, Hancho's dad. His name is Kennedy Mwape. We were married for about 3-4 years. And we went our separate ways. I have attempted to, get married, or there have been some attempts after that. I've been engaged before, that didn't work out. And here I am just wondering what marriage is, or what it would be like all over again.
Okay.
Does it scare me? Yes.
Okay. Have you practiced journalism? You had this training, you graduated. Have you been in the newsroom?
Yes, I have. I actually did my internship at ZMBC Kitwe Studios for, I think, 2 months while I was studying at MEF. And after that, I did radio on Flavor FM. But I did work in the newsroom the whole time I was there. So I used to read the news, I used to do reports and things like that. So I do have quite an experience in the newsroom.
You've been through the mill.
Yes.
Okay.
But I enjoy writing more than reporting.
Okay.
I enjoy writing stories.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard you sometimes talk about yourself as Vakopala. Well, what does that mean? What does that really mean? I left Kitwe when I was 2 years old, so I really don't...
that's a long time.
Exactly, and then I left Mufulira at 6. So what does Kopala mean to you? I've heard you refer to it before.
Kopala is a lifestyle. Kopala is a way of life. There's a certain way that we were raised on the Copper Belt.
Different from Lusaka people?
100%. In that we, how do I put this without offending anybody? We are taught to hustle for ourselves, right? We're taught to hustle for ourselves. Not that Lusaka people aren't, but there's a way that we have been taught to work without depending on people, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Kopala people are innovative. If you listen to most of the music that's playing on the radio right now, it has a certain tone, it has certain language, certain lingo that you really can't find in Lusaka.
Okay, that's Kopala.
But being Kopala generally, without even having to compare any towns, is just a way of life. It's the language, it's the dressing, it's the lifestyle, it's how you dance, it's how you move, it's how you talk. There's some gangsterism in there.
It's the Atlanta of Zambia.
But like in a cool way type thing, if I may. I think Kopala is just generally a lifestyle.
Who are your Kopala friends, so to speak? Whom did you grow up with in the Copper Belt?
Who, my best friend till today, Maimbo, Victoria, though she's Kopala but from Ndola. I'm Kopala but from Kitwe. Claire. Those people are still in my life, very active. And when it comes to the celebrity circles, obviously Makitu, Shefi, Chandana K. Yeah, we're very Kopala.
Okay.
Yes.
When did you move to Lusaka?
I moved to Lusaka in 2015. Yes.
Why?
Things didn't work out the way I expected because I was in South Africa. I moved straight from South Africa to Lusaka. Things didn't quite work out for me when I lived in SA. Things were going great until my relationship took a turn, so I had to come back.
So you had to come back.
And I didn't want to go back home to Kitwe. I thought, let me go to the capital city and explore my options in the media industry.
Okay.
Yes.
And what did you do first when you came there?
Oh, before I came back, actually, I already had a job with Hot FM. I started doing drive time. Yeah, everybody, well, my former bosses at Hot FM would normally refer to me as the super sub because I'm one person who's very diverse. I could literally do any radio show. So I joined Hot FM with Tony Roller Coaster. We were doing the drive time show. Yeah, as time went on, I started doing radio after 6. Then eventually I ended up on the breakfast show. Yes.
How was your experience? The breakfast show is a big show on Hot FM.
Oh, hectic. It requires you to use your brain, apply your brain. It requires you to read a lot, do a lot of research. It's a lot of work. It's waking up at 4:30 every day, knocking off at 9 from the radio show, then having meetings after that. After you have breakfast,
The show?
about 10, after the show's done, you have we used to have morning meetings. We'd normally have breakfast after 10. There's a way that the body operates that just makes you want to sleep because you had such an early wake up. So my body clock was always in a weird space.
So to speak.
Yeah.
How long did you do the breakfast show for?
The breakfast show, what FM, I think 2 or 3 years. Yes. Yes.
And what were some of your highlights on that show?
Oh, goodness. So many.
Was there a particular person you talked to, you interviewed, or particular experience?
Ah, man, I think the biggest highlight for me was being able to interact with callers every day, being able to solve problems. People would literally come to me with like serious life issues, and we would have to go get on the ground, get into the field, and investigate. Is this information that's been brought here credible? Is this accurate? Is this, before we take it on radio, is this newsworthy even? So having to do research and investigate, and knowing that this story is possibly something that could help change a person's life, for me was very fulfilling. There are many other highlights, obviously, talking to different politicians, just holding them accountable to their actions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, while you're to the breakfast show, I think I do remember one incident. First of all, you then became quite big on social media as well, isn't it? Was that a natural transition?
It was. I would love to believe it was. It may have been a bit deliberate because I had learned from my experience in South Africa that social media was going to be the biggest thing. Because I'd lived in SA from 2012 to about 2015, so I'd seen what other celebrities were doing there. They were using social media for the right thing. So when I moved back, I knew that I had to grow my page. I had to stay relevant and have people gain interest in what I'm doing. So I would post a lot of fashion. I would post my holidays. I would post my trips, my perfumes, like a bit of like my lifestyle. So people gained an interest. So it worked very well for me because I was on radio every day. But if you can't catch me on radio, just go to my page and then see what I'm doing, type thing. So it was quite deliberate sometimes, some posts and some things, but I was deliberate about how I needed to grow my page and my brand.
And that's the reality of people in the media now, journalists, radio journalists, TV journalists especially.
Yes.
Well, was it easy being a woman working in that environment?
No, it wasn't easy. It was.
What comes to mind?
It was depressing at times. I recall one incident where I used to face. I used to face a lot of challenges sometimes because I used to interview influential people. And interviewing influential people at the time would rub certain people the wrong way, right? If what you're discussing or the answers that are being given are not satisfactory by a certain group of people, I would find myself on certain social media news pages as being paid by the person I was interviewing. Or
were you paid?
No. Or there would be an assumption that I'm actually having a sexual relationship with them. Now, what used to baffle me is that I did a show. I used to do the breakfast show with like 2 guys. There was not a single time I ever saw a story about them. Going out with any minister, going out with any director. And it used to shock me. So I thought to myself, why am I the one always being attacked? You know, very malicious information, very untrue. And it was just difficult being a woman interviewing politicians or like influential people.
So just because you're a woman, you felt you were singled out.
Yes, I was.
And it continues to happen now.
It continued to happen. I literally had to ask my boss one time to just rant on radio because it was unbecoming. I just about had it. It wasn't making sense to me. Anytime I would interview a director, the next thing, oh, she's having an affair. She's sleeping with this person. When my other colleagues are interviewing any of the female ministers or any minister, like, there would never be a story.
Or anybody else for that matter, anyway.
It was just, it was a horrible, horrible feeling. Being singled out like that, very, very unfortunate for any woman in the media. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women that experience that. They may not have the opportunity to speak, but this is the reality.
You are a trained journalist, quite a clever girl who was supposed to be a lawyer anyway. And fate conspired that you get into the media space. So you know the craft, right? But tell me, at the same time, would you probably say you brought it upon yourself? For example, I remember a very controversial bio-oil advert.
So you see, the bio-oil ad is to sell bio-oil. It's like being a model for Victoria's Secret. How am I supposed to show the lingerie if I'm not wearing it? So, step number 1, when companies sit in a boardroom, step number 1 is they create a lingerie line. The second part is the marketing department. They come in to say, how are we going to sell? Now, you need to find models or influential people. In this case, for instance, Victoria's Secret loved to use famous people. Naomi Campbell, Candace Swanepoel, you name it. So you would get an influential person to model your lingerie.
Sell the product, yes.
To sell the product. The masses need to buy into it. But before they do, if they see it on Naomi Campbell, they're like, wow. Does that make sense? So, bio-oil came to me to be able to advertise.
But what it does for your body.
What it does for your body. And usually it's stretch marks. I actually had a whole ad where I was rubbing the bio-oil on my tummy, right? And I have stretch marks on my tummy after my son. That is never talked about. The only ad that everybody discusses is the one I was wearing lingerie. And most women have a bit of stretch marks on their bottom. which is natural. I don't see how advertising a stretch mark removal cream is offensive.
Mutale has just explained how she started her media career on the Copper Belt before she moved to Lusaka. After the break, she explains what happened next after leaving Hot FM. Before the break, Mutale talked about how she got into the media industry and all this starting from the Copper Belt.
Would you say fashion has really changed in the last 20, 30 years? I mean, I remember myself personally getting into all kinds of encounters with my bosses over wearing short skirts, and now I see girls with ripped up jeans and bum shorts and so on. How has the social media influenced fashion change in Zambia?
You know, I think you've got a point when you talk about fashion back in the day. I do remember your fashion sense. It was quite interesting. And you stood up for yourself oftentimes. I remember, I mean, I see a lot of pictures of my mom wearing like really short dresses, like way back in the 80s. They were actually shorter than what people wear today.
Worse in the 60s.
Exactly. So I think it's the way the world has changed when it comes to mindset. I can't speak for the time, but I don't know if we had as many rape cases or as many pedophiles at the time. Maybe people have gotten a bit, you know, certain individuals with their thinking and their, you know, I think let me just say their thinking. Maybe the way that our parents dressed way back in the day was a bit more acceptable and it was fun. And I don't know the rape statistics at the time. I don't know the kind of fetishes or fantasies that people would have that would probably put people's lives in danger. But I feel like fashion, yes, has changed, but people's way of thinking has also changed. So it's a bit scary. You want to wear a short skirt, but now you have to second guess and think, am I safe where I'm going? Like, is this okay? So if you marry that with social media, you will find that, okay, people are a bit more comfortable pausing in short things for social media
Than actually wearing
them in real life. Because there's certain things that even I wear because I have to promote a certain clothing brand. I could wear for pictures on social media. And I know that this is an outfit to be worn in the club, but you won't necessarily find me walking in the streets like that.
So the key is how appropriate it is for particular age, particular time, and particular place.
Yes,
Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Is Mutale Mwanza on social media, you are saying, is not the same as Mutale Mwanza sitting in front of me right now?
You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. I think I'm a very boring person. I don't go out. Oh gosh, I'm a mom. I'm doing dishes. I'm watching TV. No wig.
You left Hot FM. What happened? What did you do next?
I left Hot FM and obviously very unceremoniously, but I continued doing my social media work. I'm one of the very first people that started charging for advertising space on their page. Monetizing my page. I think a lot of people picked up on it. And it's a bit more popular now. It's a bit more common now. But I monetized my page a while back. So that was something that was bringing me money. I still had my job at Tuvange Lifestyle. The whole time I was working at Hot FM, I was still, I had a second job on DSTV. As a Tuvange Lifestyle co-host. I continued doing radio ads and just basically influencing for different brands.
Has the Tuvange show given you and other young women a voice?
Yes, it did. It's no longer on the air, but it definitely did. Yeah, we were able to share like diverse topics and give different opinions. And the whole point of that show was the fact that each person represented different opinions that reflect with the public. Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. You've got 1 million followers over, and I've heard people talk about it a lot. Do you see yourself as a role model?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
I mean, I don't know if you read some of the comments there. Recently, I saw one where somebody says, "Oh, Mutale, we thought you had stopped undressing and you're back to undressing."
What does undressing have to do with anything? I feel like people decide who their role model is. For you to pick Mutale Mwanza as your role model, you must understand who she is. So I would say to some I am, to some I'm not, because to each his own.
So for you, social media is a business.
It is business, big business. My numbers are my income.
How does it work? Because I've asked a lot of young people and they say, I want to be a creative. Is that a real job? Nobody says they want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a banker now. I've heard my nephews and nieces say, I want to be creative. They're following you. How does it really work?
Oh my God, it's exciting. So if you obviously have a personality, you pick what you need to pick like your niche. Like you need to find yourself. What are you into? Are you into fashion? Are you into music? Are you into comedy? So identify who you are and then work on it. People begin to follow you based on your personality or what content you put out there.
So
right?
it's all content. It's make believe, so to speak.
Sometimes it is. So a person like me, I didn't get my fame from social media. I got my fame from radio and television. And then social media came. So it became like part of the transition. So I needed to keep my social media busy. I needed to grow it and do what I love based on what I was doing. So being a creative is very exciting because you monetize. Let's say, for instance, you have a YouTube channel. YouTube will pay you based on the number of views you have. They will pay you monthly. So if you have a following and people are watching what you're putting out there, you instantly get paid. Apart from that, you have a show that's on YouTube, you can get sponsors. So you can get multiple income from different companies to be able to sponsor or like to post ads during your show or during your slot.
And you still have your journalism qualification to fall back on.
Yes. If anything ever happened, I could just find me on ZNBC News one day like, hey, my name is Mutale Mwanza. Or maybe on BBC or Al Jazeera. I don't know.
Tell me,
But
what is an ordinary day for you? What is an ordinary day away from the cameras? What is ordinary day for Mutale Mwanza?
I'm in bed, watching TV, don't even want to bath, no wig, remote in hand, flicking through channels. I usually watch the Diamond Breakfast Show. I'm there. I'm watching Malama, judging. She makes me smile, though. I think she's grown as a presenter, and I think she's doing more research now. She's very confident. So I'm usually watching the Diamond Breakfast early in the morning. I'm like, okay, I enjoy the calling. The call part is like, okay, that's interesting. After that, when the show's over, I'll probably find a movie to watch. But in between, I'll probably hear a knock on my door.
Does people think you are like this all the time?
No. I like mukule. I think people know me for my like small cornrows. I like those. Somewhere in between me watching the Diamond Breakfast and picking a movie, my son Mwap is always, Mom, I want transport money. I need to go for training. Yeah, you could have given him transport money like for the whole month or the whole week, but he would still come and knock and ask for money.
What has being a mother done to you or for you?
It's pushed me to work very hard. I've always been afraid to fail. Like, I don't want to be a failure because there's a human being that's looking up to me.
Who's totally dependent on you.
Yes. I have people who have outrageous thoughts of me. They think I am this and that and that. But this one person with his white eyes looks at me every day, totally dependent on me. He looks at me as the most beautiful woman in the world, a woman he would kill for. And I look back and I'm thinking, I can't let this human being down. So I've always been afraid to fail. So being a mom has pushed me to work very hard so that I'm able to just look after my child.
Young people are facing a lot of challenges now. Drugs, alcohol abuse, and even just spending too much time watching football instead of doing other important things.
Football's important, don't say that.
And you are a brand
I'm a
ambassador for Bola Bet.
Bet winner.
Is it Bet winner?
Yes.
How do you reconcile yourself with that? I mean, is it something you're so happy to be associated with? Some people who say it's really disturbing young people, who are always betting on football and.
People have different vices. If it's not alcohol, it's drug abuse. We could blame society for so many things. But the point is, do you realize how much employment betting companies give to a country, for instance? I'm an ambassador for BetWinner, and I have a very healthy paycheck from them as brand ambassador. I cannot force you to do what you want. Or I cannot force a person to do what they do not want to do. If betting is not your thing, please stay away from it.
It can become quite addictive.
Anything can be addictive. Alcohol is addictive. Even
Cigarettes.
sex is addictive. Cigarettes are addictive. It's like betting. I find this conversation very interesting, and I'm passionate about it because I feel like betting now falls in the same category. So if you can't control all these things and you feel like you can control that, I feel like that's very unfair. Let people decide what they want to do. Betting companies, yes, could cause a harm, because some people consider it as gambling, but what are the benefits of it? There are a lot of people who are employed.
Well, as you rightly say.
Yes, and apart from me
everything
being a brand
can be-
ambassador, there are people who take pictures for these betting companies, young creatives, cameramen, editors, who are all getting paid from all these betting companies. So if you have to stop an addiction, work on yourself. You can bet decently without it becoming an addiction.
Everything in moderation. Like
Everything in
alcohol
moderation.
And everything else.
Yes.
Social media has no boundaries. It seems to get people to be more vengeful and more hateful because nobody can see them. And sometimes they bring even your family into it. I've seen people say, her son this, or her son's age doesn't change, so they bring your son into this, your family. How does that make you feel?
Like foolish comments like that for me are just like, really, like, were you there when I gave birth? I know that hurt people. I've noticed that. If you find a person who's consistently in your comment section posting or just spewing venom at every post, I stop to think, could there be something wrong in your life? Because this is a child. How are you okay saying something bad about a child? If you come from me, that's one thing. I'm an adult. But and then you want, should I really start discussing my son's age or even mine? So things like that which have no consequence, I just purely understand that people are being hateful or hurtful. I ignore because I feel I know what the truth is. So let's not even discuss this.
Okay.
So
So
there are times when certain things have been brought to the public, which I kind of felt hurt about.
you try to ignore it, but it's hurtful.
Yeah, it's hurtful because I think, but you know what I do? I block people, hey? I just use the block button. Before I never used to, but now I'm just like, no, I'm not going to tolerate this hate. It's unnecessary. Especially if you come from
Mutale,
my
is this
family.
Malawi connection for real, or it's all just for social media?
Which connection? The friendship?
Tell us.
We just are in a great space. Yeah.
And how was the visit to the UK?
Very cold. I came back sick with a bad flu. Yeah, but it was very pleasant. Cold but pleasant. It was nice. Nice to be in London. Very expensive. Just realized how bad our currency is, but okay.
Now, you are just on the second season of your reality show.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm actually very excited. I'm nervous because this season has got a lot of content. The only thing that we put out right now is a teaser. So people have no idea what to expect. But there's a lot of traveling in there, people's favorite celebrities, there's a lot of drama. My son is going pro. Yeah, I am trying to work towards an amazing event that's solidifying my legacy in the media industry, just culminating up to everything I've been doing all these years, where I've been taking my money and what I've been doing. It's something I want to put on the show. So I'm nervous and I'm excited. Yeah, being given an opportunity to have a second season by MultiChoice is humbling. There are a lot of celebrities in this country, but for them to pick on me, based off the success of season 1, I can only be thankful to the M Nation and the public for like paying DSTV and just watching and tuning in every Sunday, watching the repeats. It's crazy. Like the viewership is insane, and I'm so humbled and I'm thankful. And I know that this season will be bigger. It will be better. Yeah.
What does your mother think about this? I've met your mother. What does she think about all this?
My mom's a conservative. In the beginning, it was difficult, like to try and get her out of her shell. But I like to say, shooting the reality show is like therapy. You actually talk about a lot of things you felt like you had dealt with. But then when you have to relive certain things, or when you're asked about certain things, it makes you sit up and think like, ooh, okay. You know, it's very, not therapeutic, but it's like therapy. Yeah, so I think she's settled into it now. The season 2, she's very excited. She's been looking forward to doing her makeup. I've had to buy a lot of clothes. She's always like, I need this and I need that. I need clothes, I need this, I need that. My aunts are excited. I think everybody's more excited about the fashion and the conversation. And this time around, my mom's in there. In the beginning, she was very reserved, but now it's like, okay, it's showtime.
Do you feel that society understands this media space that you're in, that especially women in our country, but even men who can be quite hateful too? Do you believe that society is really, or you're moving too fast, that society really understands this media space you are in? I mean, you are doing it with your family, but I know sometimes people have asked, wow, does Mutale have a mother?
Yeah, it's a good thing that they've seen her now, and they've seen the kind of relationship we have. My mom will call you out on a lot of things. She would literally sit me down and be like, Ngefi. But I'm my own person. I'm 36 years old. You know, sometimes even if I know I've done something wrong, like I know I'm trending for something wrong, I run from my mom. But people don't know that. That's the kind of stuff they don't see, you know, but it happens. You know, my mom would be calling me, I even know, hey, here, it's that Lewan video I posted. And I would be afraid, like, okay, I'll go and see mom when I get home. Because, you know, I live with mom. Yes. Do I feel like I'm moving too fast? I feel like I'm moving very slow. The world has evolved. Oh my goodness, my lady, you are very exposed, you know. I don't know how many countries you've traveled. You know how people live. You understand how big the media industry there. It's big business. I actually feel like I'm moving too slow. There are people here who are really just only trying to catch up now. But go to Nigeria, go to South Africa. The world has evolved. The world has moved. We're moving too slow. You know, families are in there. Babies. You know, we've been watching Kim and her sisters for a while.
The Kardashians.
Those have babies now. Do you know that those babies are now the ones who are coming up with the reality shows now? They're going to have their own spin-off shows. So it's business. People need to stop taking things personally and understand the industry. You need a society with celebrated people, celebrities, who will show you a lifestyle, who will sell you what you need to buy because companies are investing in them. They're not there to show off or to live a fake life.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. We are celebrated because we have the following, and we are meant to market products for you to buy. We're not living a fake life. Stop being emotional and separate the two. Understand that this is our business. So I feel like I'm moving too slow.
I get a lot of communication from young girls. So I mentor a lot of young girls. And I've heard some of them say, you don't even need to be educated now. You can just be an influencer. Is that true?
While that could be true, you always need a backup. You always need a backup. I like to refer to the parable of talents. God gives you 2 talents. Take 5 back. Take 10 back. You just can't be an influencer. What else are you doing with your life? But also,
at least don't miss the classes and the English language, because you need to speak English properly.
Yes, English, yes, but also just there are certain things education will teach you that influencing can't. There are certain things education will teach you that the streets can't. Etiquette, courtesy. You know, just go to school. Just finish school. I mean, if you've dropped out of school and just successful, maybe that's how your life was meant to be. But if you have an opportunity to be in a classroom, please go to school. You know, have a plan B. You know, my son and I have conversations sometimes about his football career. My son loves football. He's signed to a club now.
Well done.
I saw people talking about Borussia Dortmund, and I said, wait, what? My son's going to Europe? How come I didn't know? That is not the club, by the way. I think he was wearing like a tracksuit, and then I think I'd posted a picture to say, I really love this picture. I don't understand how that was misconstrued into the whole Borussia Dortmund thing, but I was just
put it in our faces.
But he was I just said, I like this picture. But I talked to Hancho about having a backup. Football, yes, but what's the next plan? You could break a leg. Like even me, and I'm talking to you right now, I could lose my voice. You know, I had shingles on my face not too long ago. Things like that happen. Like I can't now take pictures and look pretty for marketing campaigns. Life happens. So you need a backup. If anything ever happened to my face, I could use my voice. If something happened to my voice and I still had my face, I could use that. If anything ever happened to both, God forbid, I have many other talents. Businesses set up. Life needs a plan. So to those young girls that come to you and talk about they talk about how they just want to be an influencer, I would say to them, don't skip class.
Don't skip school.
Don't skip school. Just stay in school and then do what you love. Operate on both.
Are you rich?
I don't know what is rich. What is to be rich?
I mean, everybody thinks people in your space are glamorous all the time. Are you rich?
I'm certainly not poor. So, maybe.
It's good business, but it takes work.
It takes a lot of work. Yeah, it takes a lot of work. I'm very comfortable. I'm in a very happy space, and I will be for many years.
Okay, maybe as we end, work ethic. You work with so many people. What's the work ethic?
You know, working with a lot of people is a decision I made deliberately because I want to empower people in the media industry. I refuse to comb my own hair. I refuse to do my own makeup. Like, somebody has a talent for that. Somebody has a talent for combing hair. I refuse to do my nails. I refuse to do anything because I feel like God has placed talents in different people for them to be able to also make money from that. That's why when you saw me walk in, I have a team of people because it's like, comb my hair, that's your talent. And Julie does my hair.
Creating employment for so many people.
Is an amazing hairstylist. She has a beautiful store at Northmead, right? But she's also my personal hairstylist. So she's always there for me for important interviews like this one. I mean, I'm sitting down with the former minister. Julie had to pull up because I'm like, Julie, this is what you do. She has blessed hands, talented hands that she does hair properly and professionally. My makeup artist is amazing. So I can't take all these jobs and just do everything myself when there are people who can actually be paid to do them. So the work ethic for me and giving back to the media industry are just like married. I have a strict work ethic, and I believe I need to empower a lot of people around me to be able to make money off my brand. That's how we are all going to grow the media industry. Nigeria is where it is today because they have like
service industry,
over 500 makeup artists. In Zambia, we'll probably have like 10 and we're circling around the same ones. No, let more young girls and even boys learn how to do makeup. You know, let the industry grow. There's so much room for that. So, yeah.
What's next?
For Double M? Goodness.
Yes, and tell me about M Nation. What's next?
What's next? I'm working on putting out my M Nation merchandise. It's part of my legacy. I feel like it's time for me to put the brand out there officially, even though I haven't decided where the store is going to be, but I need people to be able to have access, first of all, to the M Nation merchandise. And there's going to be a couple of things: T-shirts, mugs, pens, key holders, anything M Nation you can get your hands on.
Doors.
Hopefully. That would be cool, right? Thank you for the idea. Like a Barbie doll. That would be nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. So merchandise would be great, but for me, I'm big in real estate.
Okay.
That's where my strength lies. I like decor, building houses. I like decorating houses.
Okay.
That's my thing.
Well, I think that I've learned some new things about you today. I think that our viewers see now a different side of you. We see so many pictures of you, sometimes you don't know who's the real person. And
Really?
who's on social media and who is the lady at home and who has a child who's somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
So I think this was quite an eye-opener for many of us. Clearly, it's a tough business. It's very competitive. I see a lot of bickering on social media among the influencers. So clearly, it is a tough business.
We're all
But
fighting for your attention. That's why. And the numbers.
but it's a business that's here to stay.
Yes.
And for those that, engage properly, there's money to be made. And I wish you only the best, M Nation, Mutale Mwanza. And we can't wait to see the second season of your reality show and see what exciting content you have for us. So thank you for having joined us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that was my guest on the conversation for this week, M Nation, Mutale Mwanza. And I hope that, especially for the young people watching, that you learned a thing or two about, first, the importance of education, but also the opportunities in this space. I hope that as you continue to engage on social media also, you will remember to be kind. Remember, you're dealing with real people, with real faces, so it is important that we remember to be kind to one another. Until next time, thank you for joining me. Good night.